What is going on, everybody? It is episode 433 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, here once again with my co-host. Would you please introduce yourself?
I will, but first we have a super chat from John Stewart. It says, Bert.
That's you.
Thank you for that.
Who's that guy?
John Stewart?
No, that Bert guy.
Oh, Bert?
Yeah, is he a guest or something? What's going on?
Who is Bert?
I don't know.
I heard he's a cult leader.
Who is they, though?
Who is they, though?
Anyway, hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. And yes, we are here today with the Bertman himself in the house.
Whose name is in the description box down below with his social medias. People have been asking me to do better about that, which I am doing. I live, I learn, I understand, and I grow.
I do better.
I learn, grow, and do better.
Can you tell us about your beef with Hassan Piker?
Well, we'll get into that because it's in topic one. It's got to do with Oliver Anthony. Right. Yeah. So, guys, today we are going to talk about everybody's favorite song from Oliver Anthony, which rocketed to #1 on the Billboard charts in his first go-around. We're going to talk about that. Also, Newsweek and various other outlets are now once again trying to slander this dude with random articles calling him a 9/11 conspiracy theorist and other such nonsense. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about a corn-addicted husband who, along with his wife,
corn on the cob.
He just loves to eat corn on the cob, and him and his wife went to see Oppenheimer, and they had to prepare to go because the nude scenes triggered his corn addiction. It's kind of fascinating, considering I was also reading an article earlier from Evie talking about corn and corn addiction within marriages and stuff.
It's really ridiculous the way that this woman posted about it, but it also is kind of sad at the same time.
Yeah, we'll get into it. It's very interesting. We're also going to talk about Jennifer Aniston, who's just after
she's our girl.
Yeah, she's
based, guys.
She's so based because she says she doesn't like cancel culture. We're going to talk about that, and we got a couple of other things to tie in there. She basically says, like, look, not everybody's Harvey Weinstein, so we will discuss that.
No, Jennifer, everyone is Harvey Weinstein.
Exactly. That's
everyone.
And we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Elon Musk and his threats to remove the block button. I know Bert's got a lot to say on this, right? No? Maybe?
I don't really have a strong opinion either way, but yeah, I do think everybody's getting their
panties in a bunch.
Are we allowed to say that? Yeah, panties in a bunch over whatever.
I read your mind.
Yeah. So we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. So we'll just get right into it if you guys are ready. Mary, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Bert, are you ready?
Ready.
And for once, it actually is right into it rather than 40 minutes later when we actually get right into it. So first things first, ladies and gentlemen, Hollywood is reinstating mask mandates. I'm not kidding you. Lionsgate is reinstating mask mandates for their Los Angeles workers. It says employees must wear a medical grade face covering, surgical mask, KN95 or N95 when indoors, except when alone in an office with the door closed, actively eating, actively drinking at their desk or workstation, or if they are the only individual present in a large open workspace.
I think people just don't want to look at each other. That's what this is really about. I also saw a tweet today that, weirdly enough, we have a guest with his sunglasses on, said that the same way that, alcoholics and drug addicts wear sunglasses inside at night in dark bars and stuff like that to hide their bloodshot eyes, people are wearing masks because they don't like how they look, and they don't want people to look at them.
There was, I remember there was a lot of the dating, social media people, like the people who run their own dating profile, dating advice columnists and stuff were talking about how masks were making the dating market uninhabitable during COVID.
Mask fishing.
Because there was people would take their mask off and they're see what I did is I said, look, if I have the balls, the guts, the temerity to not wear a mask despite not liking how I look, you too cannot wear a mask and not like how you look.
I think
you don't need to catfish everyone.
The mask fishing wasn't necessarily even that they take off their mask and they're ugly. It was more so that you just imagined in your brain, your brain just created an image of what they look like from the upper half of their face, and if you see something that you didn't expect, you're gonna think that it's shocking.
Yeah.
That's what it was for me. I don't think But this is clearly just like Hollywood being insane.
I got the crisis meter working again, guys. It was a little bit delayed there, so we're back on track. Yeah, so I remember that there was a lot of people. There was a lot of really good Instagram and TikTok skits that were being made about like face catfishing during COVID.
Hopefully no one on their dating profile was only showing pictures of them wearing a mask.
But of course, I mean, this just further indicates that there's an election coming up,
I think
right?
mayors just... What do mayors do? Like, genuine question. I don't know what mayors do, because I think during COVID, they were like, we can do things, bad things. Like, this is all they concern themselves with, is making everyone's life a living hell.
Because they feel like if they're making your life a living hell, they're actually doing something.
Because they were useless before. I don't know if there are any mayors in the chat. Let us know what you do for a living. Because it's similar to a DEI department. I have no idea what these people do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
No idea.
And part of it's also like a lot of these workers, if they're office workers, they're probably bitter they had to come back to the office anyways.
Yeah.
They were probably more thinking along the lines of like, look, I want to do distance working anyways. I want to work from home. One of the things that I thought was really interesting is I was talking to someone recently because we were talking about like when schools go back out here, like when do it felt like they got out after, like in Minnesota, we would get out at the beginning of June and then we would go back like right after Labor Day. Is that Labor Day, right? Or is that Memorial Day? I just get those two mixed up, but you know, like close to in September, right?
Yeah.
So like here, it felt like they got done after and we're already going back next week. So it's like, when do they actually take time, like get their time off in Minnesota? And then we were talking about like in Minnesota, like they don't even have snow days anymore.
Wow.
It doesn't snow?
No, like you just do distance learning. You just have to, like
that sucks.
Yeah,
Wow.
dude, you don't even get to have the day off. Like they just immediately transition to doing classes online.
Just the same way that like students don't learn the same when they're on a Zoom call. You don't work the same when you're at home.
Somebody said name 10 mayors. Oh, you like mayors, right? Name 10 of them. Can you name 10 mayors?
We love mayors.
We love
mayors.
That should be his next thing. Matan's next thing should be we love mayors.
Genuinely, like, does every town have a mayor, or do some towns like share mayors?
I think it's only incorporated towns. Like it's towns that establish it. Like there's settlements where people live there, and then there's settlements where people live there, and like this is whatever town, we're gonna have a government.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
So it says the return of mask mandates come as the Biden administration is ramping up another round of COVID hysteria heading into 2024. You know, because they think that they're gonna that's gonna have
Get
to do
your
with the,
boosters this fall.
Did you
the flu no longer exists.
Well, no, it just disappears every so often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it is what it is. I'm a big fan of these people doing this because Hollywood's already suffering with their strikes. Right? They got strikes. There was this article. The other day about how like the strikes got basically like rained out during Hurricane Hillary.
Yeah. There's now a tropical storm Harold.
Wait, why does it change names?
Is that what they're calling it?
It's not
now?
the same one. It's a different
Seriously.
one. Yeah.
That was apparently pretty gnarly. Like I thought my dad's house actually flooded out there. Apparently it only got up to the porch. Thank God for that. But like, man,
That's rare for California.
My whole life, I've never seen it rain like that. I saw like my hometown just flooded, and there's people out there boogie boarding.
Yeah.
Probably not great
You're gonna
infrastructure.
get brain-eating amoeba.
No. Yeah.
Like
in that water, or get electrocuted, or
more than likely
get some horrible disease.
Yeah.
Like the infrastructure is probably pretty bad for that out there, right?
Yeah.
Like,
no, it doesn't exist.
My dad.
Like when it snowed in Texas, and they were like,
"What do you do?"
It's climate change. You mean the place where this never happens? Why would they prepare for that?
Like my dad worked for the Army Corps of Engineers, so one of the things he used to do is like after natural disasters, he would go and do all the land surveying work and help them draw up plans for fixing the area. And there's a town in Minnesota called Lilydale, which had this like famous like the river basically overflowed in the 80s, and they had to just change a bunch of the infrastructure around. You know, the city was basically built on top of all the damage that happened there.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, California's probably not built for that in certain areas.
God, no.
Right?
No, and they're not even in a flood area where my parents are at.
I don't think this will end up halting any movie production. Oh, it also the other thing that they point out is they're also going to re-implement daily testing for them. So they're going to have to frickin' do a test every day.
bring back the COVID czars.
Dude,
the production
too much money.
assistants whose whole job is to stick swabs up people's noses.
Too much money to be made. Way too much money to be made
They're
by
creating
companies selling-
jobs if you think about it.
When the last time I was at the I had to go get like a document done, like notarized here, and they had free Binax like COVID tests on like a bench or like a not a bench but like a table out front of a bench out front of the library, and just somebody had to pay for that. The city had to pay for that to give them away free at a public library. So there's your tax dollars at work, and it's just in California they're using all of their investor capital to invest in COVID tests. They're not going to put it towards making good movies. They're just going to do COVID tests forever.
Still thinking about the nightmare experience it was for me, having to prove that I was COVID negative to get back into the U.S. when I was in Ireland in 2021. Yeah. They made you like get on a Zoom call literally with somebody who's like a proctor for your COVID tests. And if you don't do everything that they say exactly correct, you can't go home. And you have to show the test, but not, they're like, you can't tilt the screen, but you also can't tilt the test. Like, it was insane.
Wow.
What else? Like, was it like a physical test you had to take?
PCR that you have to put in your throat or your nose.
Ugh,
we were in Mexico, and this was when all the border stuff was happening. My father-in-law, we were joking about, why don't we just walk across the border? Like, they're not going to stop us.
Yeah.
True.
They'll just let you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Did you?
No.
Should have done it.
Okay.
All right, guys, let's move on. Let's talk about Firefest 2. It's happening.
What?
Yes. Okay, so
Tickets
guys,
are starting at $499, going up to $8,000.
dude, I'm thinking we can go. I'm thinking we can go.
We're going?
I'm thinking like
Business expense?
The hell with Burning Man.
Wow.
Let's go to Firefest 2.
Well, I thought that Burning Man was that expensive.
Yeah.
I didn't know this. I thought that like one Burning Man ticket was like $17,000 or something, and you can bring multiple people on one ticket. That's not the case, apparently.
No.
But
no.
Burning Man is burnt out. Fire Festival is here.
I love this photo of like the
trash that was left behind.
It just looks like the leftover like area in like a third world country after like America pulls their military out. I love it. I don't know what Ja Rule's take on this is, but my favorite here, somebody else posted like another photo of it with the food that they ate while they were there. That's
the
yum.
cheese that's just slapped on.
I didn't realize that they got
the
2
Wonder
slices
Bread.
of cheese. That's pretty good.
Luxurious.
That's pretty good there. Have you ever seen that social media? Like yesterday we talked about no, what day did we talk about moms cracking eggs on their kids' heads?
That was
Friday?
last week, yeah.
So Friday we talked about moms, cracking eggs on their kids' heads for social media clout. Well, there's also a thing where people just
slap the cheese.
They hit you in the face with cheese,
I've
and
seen
it's
that.
like ha ha because it's like it makes a sound.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
it is
Not
funny.
as bad as the egg videos.
Yeah.
Somehow less awful than the eggs.
You have to
somehow.
really hit someone to get the egg on.
What happened to throwing the cheese on the cat's head?
Yeah,
they still do
that? That was a thing too.
That was kind of
Yeah.
funny.
That was the thing too. So would you go to Firefest?
No.
No,
I would go.
I think we should go. I think
Too
we should
old,
go for
man.
work. PCC live from Firefest. Maybe we could get Ja
PCC
Rule.
meetup at Firefest?
Have an escape plan?
Like we could have Ja Rule perform.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. All right. Prince Harry is actually aptly named now. Did you see this? Prince Harry has got it magically grew back. He's like Elon. His hair just magically came back.
Okay, but zoom in on this picture.
Yes.
This is not a hair transplant. This is Photoshop, and not good Photoshop.
It
Looks like they just took a paint tool and did like 50% opacity brown and just on top of his already balding hair. That is not a toupee. That is not a hair transplant. That was just Photoshop. It's weird, right? Because he could get hair transplants if he wanted to. He has plenty of money, but it would be like admitting defeat.
Yeah. Do you think
know?
that's what it is? Elon
Also,
did it.
like people say, if you get on any flight to or from Turkey,
They know.
you'll see guys with like 3rd-degree burns on their heads, and you know why.
Okay. That makes me sad. That makes me sad because
They do it for cheap in Turkey.
I got very like my dad is like in his late 70s, still has pretty much all his hair. So
you're
like,
gonna be fine.
I should
Well, they
be-
say it's the maternal grandfather.
I think my grandfather had all his
You're
hair.
good.
So $20 one there from Hot Liberty.
Haute Liberty.
I say-
Excuse you, Brett. I think Idiom you were looking for yesterday was 6 of one, half a dozen
yeah.
of the other. Also, I choose to believe Brett is the normie skater and Brent is the online personality who shows up for PCC at 3 p.m. East.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and be honest. When I got done saying that, I'm like, yeah, I said that wrong, but I didn't want to stay there to correct myself. You're 110% correct. Oh, also the other week, somebody mentioned, they said, do you have any protest songs that you like? And
for what kind of protest are we talking about?
it doesn't matter. Any type of protest.
The 5 Times August, all of his stuff's fantastic. I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was a song from Sage Francis in 2001 in protest of the Iraq War called Makeshift Patriot that I actually quite enjoyed. That's one I would suggest checking out. It just reminded me because I was thinking about this from yesterday.
Is Zombie by the Cranberries?
Is that a protest song?
A protest song?
Oh.
There's a fine line between a protest song and like something that's being very critical.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
Yeah. They're saying that baldness equals manliness, and that's why I'm not
Also,
bald.
Prince Harry has been announced as the Chief Impact Officer of Better Up, which is the worst name for a mental health nonprofit ever. Better Up.
Better up.
Why don't we start one that's called Knock It
Like
Off?
Butter Up.
Yeah.
It's like buttering a piece of toast with
What is
beans
it?
on top.
What the hell does a Chief Impact Officer?
Once again, like mayors, like DEI departments, what are they doing all day?
Shouts out to the mayors.
What does
They like to have meetings.
Yeah.
I know they have a lot of meetings.
I'm literally asking Google what the
They
hell
have the
does
best meetings.
It says a Chief Impact Officer's role might include ownership of the strategy around ESG and DEI.
Okay.
It
It says he's a humanitarian, veteran, mental wellness advocate, and environmentalist.
Yeah, it says ensuring the strategy is actioned by all departments across the organization, championing internal and external initiatives. Look, they just say things without. It's like saying stepping into my confidence. You're not saying anything.
Prince Harry just got a new laptop job. That's all we know.
He did, and those laptop jobs are extremely, extremely like you're going to end up in your own kindergarten class.
He
if you're-
behaves like a kid trying to fill up their resume for college apps.
Yeah, kind of.
Like, bro, do something for a living, you know? Make money.
If we had a Chief Impact Officer here, who would it be?
Oh.
I'll just say Dane.
Let's just say Dane.
I'm nominating Dane
Yeah.
as Chief Impact Officer of this company, and I expect him to focus on
Fulfill those duties.
He needs to
Whatever they
He
are.
needs to implement corporate synergy on all levels and across a multi-platform,
I might be misremembering, but I think Dane has unironically used the word synergy before.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think I've heard it. Yeah.
It's a corporate term. They love that word. It's one of those words that never gets said anywhere else in your life. There's no other reason to say it. Now we need to see if we can get him to say synergistic.
He is a veteran of corporate America and a traumatized one at that.
Yeah. Well, it's, a lot of people, like I was talking to someone the other day, is basically saying like corporate, you have to be a certain breed to be a corporate person, because it's like you have like those friends.
A sociopath?
Kind of, like in a way, right? Like it's like you have to know how to. Do you ever have the friend who like he pulls out his wallet last at dinner, or he can never drive like he's never volunteers to drive? You have to be that in corporate America. You have to know how to get the most with putting the least in and be the best.
It's a skill.
It is a skill set. It is absolutely a skill set. All of the
To look busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of your CEOs have mastered both that skill and the ability to network with other people.
You know what?
Yeah.
I think another contender is Charles.
Yes.
Oh,
Chief
man.
Impact
Yes.
Officer.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
I change it. It is not Dane anymore. Charles is the chief. CCIO. Charles, Chief Impact Officer.
He's walking around in the tracksuit. I'm just like, this is our money guy?
Yeah.
This is the guy in charge of everything?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man.
You always want the guy in charge of the money to be wearing a tracksuit.
Oh,
And
what a
gold chains.
character.
And gold chains. It's absolutely what you want. It instills nothing but confidence in outside investors.
Yeah.
You're like, well, this is our money guy. And it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
he's like standing there like this posing.
Right.
And you're like, look, I have the utmost confidence that what is going on is going to work out because he looks that way.
Yeah.
Right? It's perfect. Then again, it's not a fair example because this is a pretty loose, like it's not like there's a dress code here.
No.
I wear like, I don't even wear shoes upstairs in the office. I take my shoes off during the show, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
So Charles is now our chief impact officer. That's fantastic. Perfect. And Prince, I guess Harry's perfect for that though, right? Because he's got all the contacts from his
To do what with?
to offer free hair plugs to people at other companies. He's bringing about hair equity to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
I'm so confused. I want to invite a DEI executive at a Fortune 500 company on the show so they can explain what they do for a living.
I mean, they're not going to be able to tell you anything. They're just going to use a bunch of word salad, and you're going to end up right back where you left off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you actually could make the better argument that it's true that they do actually do that stuff in the entertainment industry, because you see the actual evidence of it on screen. Right? Mm-hmm. When there's initiatives put into place as to how many people you have to hire of a certain group, we need women in this role rather than men. You get to see the actual results of the DEI people's work.
Sure.
Chris Rufo said this. He said at DEI departments or HR departments, they're just Scientology style auditing people's conscience, doing lie detector tests, checking their pulse to see whether they truly believe in the mission.
Do you think what percentage of people in Hollywood do you think actually believe in the mission?
Even if they are tacitly approving of it or aren't one of the crazy harpies, I think they are covert supporters.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Like Jennifer Aniston.
Marcos says tossed word salad. That's what it would be. That's what if you got the DEI lady in here, she would be giving you venomous tossed word salad. Mm-hmm. All right, you'd have an opinion on this, right? You love music. You love rock and roll.
I love all kinds of music. Yes.
Queen's Fat Bottom Girls has been removed from. It's a kids music platform, so it's less it's less to be angry about. We're not farming for outrage here.
Okay. So
they're getting censored and canceled.
Yeah. It's a platform called Yoto.
I didn't know anything about this at first because I saw it yesterday, and I was thinking, look, if liking women with big butts is wrong, I don't want to be right.
There you go.
On the other hand, now that I know it's a kids thing, okay, fine. But I also want to know, what's the other songs that are on there, and I want to compare, if you've got one that's talking about...
It's got WAP on there, I'm sure.
So if that's on it, and then you didn't put Fat Bottom Girls, give me a break, dude. I'll take Fat Bottom Girls over WAP any other day.
Most people would, right?
So.
The Kids Bop version of WAP.
Have you ever seen the it says no one ever, and it says Kids Bop in the early 2000s, and it's white kids singing Drake. It's amazing.
In the early 2000s?
In the early I'm sorry, early 2010s.
Early 2010s.
Early 2010s. And it's incredible. It's Kids Bop, man. It's the white kids
There's
have to have
not
their
a market
version of
for that anymore because parents don't care what their kids are listening to or watching anymore.
Kids Bop is just TikTok now.
My parents didn't really censor my music. Right. I was kind of just allowed to.
But it wasn't as easily available as it is right now.
I had to steal the records from my brother. I just steal the CDs from my brother.
I didn't listen to Kids Bop, but I did watch a lot of VeggieTales.
There you go. So I was talking to someone recently about how the way music is going, and we'll talk about it a little bit more in Oliver Anthony. But I said I remember Jessica once had a really interesting it wasn't a conspiracy theory, but she floated the idea. She's like, you know how when you watch a TikTok video and it gives the automated girl's voice, it says and it's the same kind of speech pattern every time. It's seeing what would happen if, and it's
well, there are different ones to choose from.
But basically, they were saying that was being programmed. So it's so you'll take orders from AI in the future. We're not going to be used to hearing human voices after a while. And another thing that links to that is think about there are songs now that don't even get popular by the artist. It's just the sped up or the slowed down version that people hear on TikTok, which eliminates all of the authenticity of the artist's actual voice. Eventually, they'll just make those songs, and they won't even start from the place of some mainstream artist who makes it.
Yeah.
They'll just start with the sped up version.
They already have that, Japanese anime girl pop star Miku, right?
Mm-hmm. And
Same
eventually
thing. It's a Vocaloid pop star.
they'll all just end up being that, and you won't have any.
Usually on TikTok, it's like a song that's 20 or 30 years old, sped up, and then the kids using it don't know what it is.
Yes.
They don't recognize it.
They're like, oh my gosh, I love that song. And then like I'm over here like, I remember that when it came out when I was in high school. And then I feel old, of course. So yeah, so they're removing it from this platform. It says they did not immediately respond to comment. Shocking. I think it's a Chinese app, right? Was it a... Yeah, it was
Sounds like it.
Yeah, so I mean that's not the worst thing ever. It's a kids' music platform. They censor
They're
a lot
trying to cancel Queen.
They're gonna cancel Queen. We're never gonna get Freddie
cancel
Mercury again.
Eminem.
And him and Freddie Mercury never to be seen again. All right, Kanye West is pissing off everyone in Italy because he's parading around his wife wearing essentially what? It's not nothing, but it looks like nothing.
She's wearing basically underwear with stilettos. Like, this is like a sheer like tights and like a tank top that barely covers anything, and like a do-rag under, like on top of her shaved head. I just don't think this is a look. Like, regardless of the fact that it's skimpy and immodest, this is just not, this doesn't look good.
Yeah.
You know? This is the nude leggings scourge that I have been decrying over and over. Since the last time I talked about it, I saw it in person again. Nude leggings. Just jammed up a butt crack. And you don't know what you're looking at for the first split second you see it. It's incredibly traumatizing, and we don't deserve to see that in public. And especially not in Italy, where they have standards, okay? You are not allowed in certain restaurants if you're dressed a certain way. That's why everyone was making a big fuss when Zendaya wasn't allowed into a restaurant in Italy wearing a tube top.
Yeah.
Like, everyone in America is just used to looking like a slob, and that's just acceptable here.
There was this amazing like tweet the other day. It said like it was like some woman tweeted, she's like, what happened to men picking us up during sex? And the guy responds, you guys started idolizing Lizzo. And you know, so it says in one instance, the Daily Mail reported that Bianca was forced to cover her nipples with a black bag strapped around her chest.
They just get a burlap
For
sack.
shame.
Yeah. A number of Italians took to social media to express their dissatisfaction with Bianca showing off her naked body.
Also, like, what is Kanye's thing about not wearing shoes recently?
Does he not have shoes on? No, he doesn't.
Do you see that in the photo?
What is this?
Look, he's
Oh my God.
walking around Italy barefoot. He's
Can we
been
get
doing it for
Shane
days.
in on here so he can explain this to
He
us?
started out with just socks on, and then he did away with the socks, and he was just like, I'm done.
What's going on?
Yeah.
What are those?
You can even see the cigarette butts and the broken glass everywhere. Like, is he okay?
He just doesn't care.
Wow.
He just
You
doesn't
don't do
care.
that in a beach town, and you don't do that in Italy.
That's crazy.
Is this just another bit of American exceptionalism, thinking that they just get to just go to another
It's
country
Kanye exceptionalism.
and behave however they want?
It's definitely Kanye
some
exceptionalism.
postmodern modeling thing where it's
I
just,
just-
look at how fashionable, bro. You don't have shoes on. What are you doing?
Why does he do this to his girlfriends and makes them into these dress up hags? Like,
must be a
shaves
control
their
thing.
head and makes them look ugly. Like, she was a knockout before this, and now she's dressing like an alien. And she shaved her head.
Yeah.
It just is not a vibe. It's not, like, regardless of the modesty question.
It says, one critic wrote, how about police in every country arrest anyone who is nude? It's called indecency. Tired of being forced to see nude women, and should it be illegal for children to see this? Another said, I hope Italy kicks them both out of the country. They don't need this pair polluting it. Mm-hmm. Yep. I knew, and then another one says, a third pointed out it's completely disrespectful to a conservative Catholic culture. The Italians should have kicked them out. Well, I've been told by the liberal media that America is a Catholic fascist country, but we don't kick people out for wearing nothing in the streets these days.
If only, Brett, if only that were true.
Catholic-fascist.
European women also just have higher standards for how they dress and present themselves. Everyone knows that. So it's even worse.
And America's just over here being very, very out there with their clothing choices and making
people are just wearing literal underwear outside.
I mean, that is really just what it is, right?
Yeah.
It's just
It's like those big, like, spandex jumpsuits that everyone wore in WALL-E when they were in the obesity scooters in WALL-E.
Know what he should do next? He should put her in the Astro Boy boots in that outfit.
Those are shipping, by the way.
Oh, yes. She's going to get them and she's going to wear them. She's going to wear them. So, all right, guys. What would you like to see? Would you like to see cute of the day or would you like to see cringe of the day?
Let's start with cute.
Okay. We got a couple here. Also, guys, remember, if you'd like to submit your pets for cute of the day, tag me and hashtag PCC Pets and cute of the day there. So here we go. First things first. This is from Mysterio Parcel. Says, after you featured his brother Captain Noodle Pants on PCC Pets, Sergeant Soggy Shorts was jealous. It was bath day again.
These are not their real names.
I hope that those are their real names.
They answer to them as well.
That is adorable.
Sure. Cute.
And then this one is from High Voltage 75. He said some more of Babylon. One of his favorite activities was to climb on top of an open door and wait to pounce on my shoulders when I walked by. He loved to sneak outside except when it snowed. And the glowy-eyed pic is for Mary. So here's the first one. He is like hanging out up there, ready to pounce.
Yeah. Pocus did the same thing to me where he was standing on top of the refrigerator and then jumped down. And I was like, I didn't know you were there.
That's right before you had an accident.
Look at him. He's right. He is right there, looking like he's about to go out, and then he's like, "Nah, I'm good."
That's literally my dog.
And then there's the glowy-eyed pic.
Love it
for you. All right, now for cringe of the day, ladies and gentlemen. First things first. I have this video I wanted to show people. This one, my favorite, is the guy in the background who has no reaction to this whatsoever,
and we know why. Yes.
Here we go. Ready? Dude's like, not my business, not my problem. I've seen the videos. I'm not getting involved.
Ooh, she got heated.
You can't talk to or touch women in the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like.
Look, he should have done something. I mean,
Is that what he's supposed to do?
I don't know. Feign concern, at least.
That was a
Dane Cook.
Whoa
Dane
there.
Cook's here.
Man.
He's like, and then he goes, and I saw the accident happening, and I said,
His shoes came off.
his shoes came off. He's like, yeah, that's. He's like, it's when a car crashes. He goes, I've always wanted to see a car wreck.
Yeah.
All right, so you know, but you're right. This is the culture. You can't get involved with any woman who's at the gym. No.
If she's recording it, she probably did this as a stunt.
I hope so. And also, like, you have to ask questions like, if she didn't do it as a stunt, why would she post it?
Yeah.
Like unless there was like an account called like Uber Gym Fails that paid you for your gym fails, and then everybody would just fake them.
People just embarrass themselves for free these days.
Yeah.
It's the internet. Why would they lie?
They really do. All right, let's go here. Mary found this one. Here we go. Let me turn the volume up. It's good.
Oh God.
In the modern world, we like to have our bowl of cereal, don't we? This is a primal version of your bowl of cereal. I got my testicles in farm fresh milk from Liver King Ranch. The most feared warriors, the Maasai.
Don't do it. Don't. Oh my God.
What they get down on is milk, meat, and blood. And they're expressed in a higher, more dominant form. If you still want your primal cereal to taste like Cocoa Pebbles at the end, put a little bit of whole feast in with your testicles. Make sure you peel back the membrane on the testicle. You can use a spoon if you want, but God gave you the hands for a reason.
Not for this reason, Liver King. Not for this reason.
Dude, bro just teabagged himself.
Yeah.
I was like, let's check in on Liver King.
Oh my God.
Never mind.
He's
like aged 10 years
since quitting
the steroids.
No, he's still taking them. He said he's.
Oh, he was just like, I'm just admitting it. I'm not just gonna stop.
That's what he said. He goes, I'm not quitting,
bro.
So you know,
he's on a self-destructive path.
I mean,
this has got to be just like click farming, right? Like he doesn't actually finish it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, so I mentioned earlier. There's this account that I follow. It's become one of my favorite accounts. It's super toxic. It's called Gal vs. Food, and it's just this incredibly skinny, attractive woman eating lots of fast food in like one or two bites. It's so bad for the mental health of anybody who watches it. Yeah. And at first
Why?
I'm like, well, because it's basically like saying like anybody who eats this much would like, if you don't look as skinny as this woman. And she doesn't say that. She basically says like she works out every day and she only does it a couple of times a month, and she does it for the videos that she does, right? And so she does these videos where she goes to McDonald's, she goes eating a Big Mac in 2 bites. And so she shows you eating it, but she never shows herself actually like swallowing the food. So I was like, oh, she must be faking it. She posts the whole uninterrupted videos on her YouTube. And now she's like in Greece eating McDonald's, but from Greece. 2-bite burgers in front of like really scenic areas, and it's super like, it's exactly the most type of toxic stuff you see on the internet. Like when we say that women actually do have like evil forces working against them on social media, it's exactly this type of stuff. But I love it. It's amazing.
Well, you can tell who's doing it as a cheat day and who's doing it as every day is cheat day.
Yeah, she basically posts like 30-minute mukbangs, like of her eating. But she's super skinny. She's super attractive, and it's just so bad for you to see just the clips.
If you need to have a cheat day, you're not really enjoying life.
Yeah.
Right? Like your normal diet is that bad.
Oh, I don't know.
You need to like plan months ahead how you're gonna binge out on Zog Slop.
Like so she's just like she's like, oh, two of everything at all of these places. She goes to various places, right? But the point is, it's all really unhealthy.
You can get that at a variety of different places.
Yeah. But it's not good. And I understand that it's probably not the healthiest thing for somebody, especially a younger, more impressionable person who doesn't understand how the internet works and how clout works. Like, I'm sure this lady is a perfectly nice lady, but it's just like those videos, the social media clips, maybe not the 30-minute videos, because you actually see the work that goes into actually eating all this food, and she talks about it.
Well, maybe she posts like fitness content too.
Yeah, but the clips themselves just seem like really not good.
There are other people that do this, like eating raw testicles and liver and stuff like that. Like, you're actually killing yourself.
All right, let's go ahead and wait. How long today? 38 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Let's jump right into it, shall we?
Yeah.
How about that? Okay. First things first today, Oliver Anthony is back in the news because after he took the music industry and really the political landscape by storm last week or 2 weeks ago now, he has rocketed to the top of the Billboard Hot 100 charts in his first ever outing on the platform. That's crazy.
I'm sure this is also record-breaking for like people who don't have a studio behind them.
Yeah, it says the only other artists who had done this were the likes of like Zayn and Kelly Clarkson, or I'm sorry, Carrie Underwood, people with major label backing on them, right? So number one in his first entry, and it does speak to what's going on with the culture, because if you have something that rings true with people, a lot of people will show up to support it. I looked up like how they tabulate the results. Apparently, it's a calculation between physical sales, digital sales, and online streaming in the U.S. So obviously, I don't know if there are physical sales of this album, but obviously digital sales, yes. And he's
quit his job.
Yes, and he's become like a weirdly polarizing figure because it seems like everyone's out to get him. And it's like I saw some people doing just the craziest like deep dives into the song and trying to figure out the hidden racist meaning behind the song and all of these things, and it's just a mega ultra cope. And Mary even kind of she checked me a little bit, because at one point I was like, when we were reading like one of these ridiculous interpretations of the song, and I was like, look, it's just a frickin' song. And you're like, well, that's what
whenever we go on and talk about Barbie for 30 minutes straight, people are like, it's just a movie,
exactly.
Bro. Why do you care so much? So
I had to check myself there. You were right. It's obviously, but I felt like their interpretations were extremely ridiculous and over the top. And then, of course, Rainn Wilson got involved. Dwight got involved and basically said that it's his fault because, you should be mad at rich people,
he said,
rather than poor people.
If I were writing a song about rich men north of Richmond, I wouldn't talk about obese people on welfare. I'd sing about CEOs who make 400 times their average worker's salary, up from 50 times 30 years ago, and corporations that pay zero taxes and offshore tax shelters for billionaires.
I think it speaks to like the number one difference between somebody like him and what that song seems to be talking about is like some people would rather be taxed less and keep their own money and be responsible for their own actions, and other people would rather everyone be taxed more and expect the government to take care of them.
Well, I think that this is just Rainn Wilson not understanding that the tone of the song is self-deprecating.
Yeah.
Almost to a fault, in my opinion, which is why, I mean, I didn't have some kind of galaxy brain take on the song. I just didn't quite like the tone of it. I thought it was kind of whiny and self-pitying and defeatist and impotent. And that's intentional, that's the tone of the song. Rainn Wilson didn't really grasp that.
But he's kind of got he doesn't have a point, but now it's just weird how the media seems to be out in force to get this dude. I saw this came up like if you go to, here, I'm going to put it up on screen here. If you go to the Newsweek website right now, they've got 2 separate articles on him. Like, why is Newsweek so interested in this
What are
dude?
the headlines?
One says, is Oliver Anthony a Republican? Country singer's political beliefs explored. And another one, which we will talk about, says Oliver Anthony accused of promoting anti-Semitic 9/11 conspiracy theories. Why are they so interested in this
from
dude?
Ben Lorber says Oliver Anthony, country singer behind the new conservative anthem "Rich Men North of Richmond," has a public YouTube playlist recommending videos that make your noggin get bigger. 3 of the 48 videos on the list are devoted to anti-Semitic conspiracy theories about 9/11. So some of the titles: Fox News segment on the dancing Israelis.
Do you want to explain what that was?
Basically, there's this theory that there were 5 Israelis celebrating 9/11 who possibly were Mossad agents that were responsible for the attack. There wasn't proof that they were any way responsible, but they were seen by a witness account in New Jersey celebrating the attack and taking pictures in front of the Twin Towers collapsing.
And by the way, Matt Kelly has a very smart comment. He says, accused of promoting what weasel words? Exactly, because what happened here is somebody found like a public YouTube playlist of his. It just wasn't private. That's not
That was his
promoting.
first mistake. You gotta private your playlists, private everything, lock it down before you make your debut as a niche internet micro celebrity. Just lock it all down.
Tiffany Gomez is the way.
Tiffany Gomez is definitely the blueprint for that.
She is. But it kind of shows you how scared they are of losing control, especially music lately, right? Because yesterday we talked about Taylor Swift and we talked about her issues with Scooter Braun and him buying her music publishing out from under her because it wasn't hers to begin with. It belonged to a label. And so now what they're learning is there's more to be made if you own your own work. It's just a hell of a lot more work on your own part to do, right?
Yeah, he said that's why he was turning down these it was an $8 million record deal where he'd be touring across the country.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's a bad idea in general for anyone's mental health.
Yeah.
To do something like that, to take that deal, because it just
especially now when
turns
he's
your
nobody.
entire life upside down.
Exactly. Yeah.
When you came from absolutely nothing like a month beforehand, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like that would go south.
Also, I hope, like, my hope is that he's
intended.
developed like the tools to deal with the fame because he's recently sober, and that is a lot to deal with when you've recently gotten sober, as I can attest to, right? That's not an easy road to go down.
I just think that a lot of people made the mistake of looking at this guy and wanting him to be the avatar for their political movement or political pet issues, and they were like, he's our guy, blah blah blah. When he's just a guy that you came across, you know nothing about him, his past, his present, or future. And he probably would prefer it that way, honestly. And now he's done an interview with Fox News where they were asking him about political division in America. And he literally repeated the kindergarten line, "Diversity is our strength." Let's look at the video real
I
quick.
got that here. Hold on.
I mean,
there's a $20 one right there from Justin G.
Justin G. Those in power want to destroy Oliver Anthony because he threatens the music industrial complex. He is not beholden to any label, and they hate that someone can rise to #1 without their approval and peddling.
Yeah, I mean, I actually agree with that because they don't want people to get more concrete examples that can be done. But I think here's the other thing though, what you're seeing from him is the exception, not the rule. If you look at the amount of work someone like Tom McDonald has to do to release his own music, it's an unbelievable amount of effort put in, and the average artist just isn't willing to be that much of a workhorse all the time. For the results that these, mainstream celebrities get with half the effort because they don't keep all the profits, right? So they don't like these examples being shown of the different ways in which that could happen because, like you said, it does threaten
some evil Scooter Braun somewhere is trying to buy up Oliver Anthony's music.
Here's the clip.
We are the melting pot of the world, and that's what makes us strong is our diversity, and we need to learn to harness that and appreciate it and not use it as a political tool to keep everyone separate from each other, I mean,
I agree with him on the face. He's right. We do. Both sides do this too.
I disagree with him on its face.
Both sides do absolutely try to use it to their advantage, and both sides then claim that the other side doesn't.
We got one from Clint. He said, sorry, I'm waiting for it to come up. I think anyone that has lived a paycheck to paycheck life can say that Oliver is their guy, regardless of political leanings.
That's
you
fair.
don't have.
Yeah.
I don't.
You
think
shouldn't
that
call. I don't think that's the smartest idea.
Why would you have faith in someone on a personal level
yeah.
because they're from the same social strata as you?
Yeah. Thank you. Hold on. Hold, please. Hold, please.
Thank you.
It's party time.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I don't think that's how they're looking at him. I think because I know it connected with me, and I've you look on TikTok and yeah, I'm a boomer, okay.
Yik yak.
And Yik Yak. And there's a bunch of videos of dudes that are at their blue collar ass jobs, and they're just taking videos of whatever's going on. They're working on a coal mine, they're working at the oil field, whatever. And it's just got the song playing in the background, and it says something like, when I come home and I'm grumpy, it's not because I don't love you, my family. It's like I'm just tired.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's not that he's their guy. It's like, no, he literally is the average person. Because when I was working blue collar jobs, that's how I felt. I come home, I'm tired. Yeah. And exactly what he's saying in the song is like, that's how I feel. He's literally just saying what I'm saying, and now finally everybody's hearing it.
Also, I disagree. What I'm saying is I disagree with the first part. I agree with the second part that both political parties use it to divide everyone, and I don't think that that's a hard thing.
Use what?
Use our differences to divide us. They absolutely do.
Yeah.
They absolutely do.
Yeah.
I think those divisions already exist.
Doesn't mean that they don't exploit
nature.
it further. They absolutely exploit it further. And so I'm not agreeing with the first part. I'm agreeing with the second part of what he said.
I mean, I think
the
that's
first
that
part is
Marxist
just a canned phrase.
impulse to level all distinctions and differences between people.
Yes, but he's also not a politician. He's just some guy. I don't think he maybe understands it or realizes that's not like the appropriate thing to say in those kind of situations, which kind of goes back to the whole we should not be picking him as our guy.
Yeah, you shouldn't look at any celebrity as your guy.
Yeah,
like
he's just a guy.
He's just a person, and you're always in for a world of hurt if you allow yourself to identify too heavily. It's like the song "Stand" by Eminem. You're in for a world of hurt if you spend your time expecting celebrities or anybody that you know in a parasocial way to live up to the standards you have for them. That's not the way the world works, and it's not smart living.
A lot of people who liked the song felt more passionate about hating people who didn't like the song than they felt passionate about liking the damn song. Like,
I would say this kind of goes back to the whole Hassan thing, where all the people.
Oh yeah, what is this? Your beef with Hassan Piker?
It's like, well, I just don't like the guy. But like, besides the fact, I was watching a bunch of people's reactions. I like hearing people's reactions to music because I love music. I want to hear other people's opinions. And I'm watching, it comes on autoplay, Hassan Piker, and he's talking about the song, and he just has the most malevolent ass take where he's saying, like, first of all, he's calling Oliver Anthony a fat guy, complaining about people that are fatter than him and like people that are poorer than him. And I'm like, if this is your take, dude, like, you are so out of touch if this is what you think. Anyway, I clipped it. I put it on Twitter X, whatever. And I literally explained what happened. He laughs at the lyrics, makes fun of them, calls Oliver Anthony poor, and then he malevolently states that, like, you know, yeah, he probably doesn't have a job because woke liberal policies have gutted the whole industry out there. And I was just like, you're literally like standing on your soapbox and grinning about this. Yeah. And it's like, you're just an evil dude if this is your take. I post it online late at night. I go to sleep, I wake up, and I look, and I'm like, oh, Hassan retweeted it. Like, the post is popping off. I was like, let me mute this first of all, because, like, I don't need any of those reactions coming through to me, because, like, I'm not trying to have a mental health episode. Yeah. And
like Hassan is.
Like Hassan is. So yeah, everybody, they just have like the worst takes about it. My God, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it blew up. It got like 4.2 million views. I was like, that's insane. Forget the content. I've never had anything with my name attached to it.
I just don't want to identify with any celebrity, whether they actually agree with me or not. It's why I love so much about, like, I love like 80s cheese movies and the rah-rah American patriotism of the early 2000s post 9/11, because I understand that what I'm watching, it speaks to certain aspects of my personality as far as patriotism go, but it's not like I buy that all these celebrities buy this stuff. I understand that entertainment is inherently, in most cases, propaganda in some way, shape, or form, but I don't identify heavily with any one celebrity, any celebrity really, because one, you don't know them, you not on a personal level. That doesn't make them bad. It just means that you save your attention and save those thoughts for the people that are in your actual life, and worry about that. Like, they're going to let you down. Yeah. They're going, especially if you develop too close of an attachment to their work, right? Like, think about how many people were like just aghast when Bruce Springsteen kind of came out to be the weirdo that he is now, and they're like, but I love Born in the USA. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, you can love the song, you don't need to love the artist, and I think that that's the safest way to consume art. Now, we're kind of in in an era where, like, we're through that now. Now what people are looking for is art they identify with, art made by people. Like they say, look for stuff from people that don't hate you. And is as good of a rallying cry as that may be.
It sounds nice, but like, what does that look like in practice?
Yeah.
It just means probably being Amish.
It just means like, look, do I have more in common with the people like releasing stuff from the Daily Wire than the people releasing stuff from Hollywood? Sure, I guess, but I'm just not willing to look at art that way.
Yeah,
I'm just not like but it doesn't mean I'm not going to be any less critical of the stuff from the people who clearly don't like us. Yeah. But you know, it's part of the job. It is what it is, and I'm better at separating those things in my life and not looking at it that way. I applaud the people who are able to be that passionate about what they consume that way, as far as how it holds to their moral values, I guess. But I don't choose to interpret or take art in that way.
Yeah.
That's just me.
I get you.
But I get it. I get it for people. So we'll see how it goes. I think it does. I think the bigger concern here is at the end of the day, it's not about the politics. I think you're right. I think it's about what it proves that what you can do in the music industry with fierce backing from people who do take the approach who do take the approach opposite of me, who do want to be behind artists that they feel I identify with heavily, strongly, right? Yeah. So We'll see how it goes for the dude. I wish him the best, and I really do hope more than anything that he's able to remain sober and keep his head about him, because it would be the most tragic loss would be that if he loses himself in it. So I hope that that's not what happens. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, all right.
Andrew Jacobs said, less Hannah Pearl, more Hannah Claire.
Is there any faster way to upset the conservative women these days than bringing up Pearl? They hate Pearl.
I feel like maybe hate Pearl more than the liberal women hate Pearl.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They kind of both do, right?
But
I have no strong opinions on Pearl. It always just feels like she's playing to an audience.
I was the same way until she had that 16-year-old tweet where I was like, "Bro, that's a weird hill to die on." What? You didn't see that one? I was like, "Okay, dude."
Never mind. I forgot about that one.
She's had a lot of weird takes.
Yeah,
a lot of weird takes.
I mean, that to me screams like engagement farming.
Well, this whole week,
for sure,
the whole week has been women bragging about how little their husbands care for their children. Like, my husband has never changed our baby's diaper, and he never will.
It's so weird.
that means he's a high value male.
Oh my god.
Like, you're terminally online,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
Shane H. Wilder said, just received word from our Antarctic outposts that they are running low on supplies. Nevertheless, the burdening will continue until morale improves.
Thank you. Shout out to Shane.
Also, guys, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? We want to get those likes up on these videos, increase the ability and the visibility for people to see these things. And remember, all super chats, as you've seen, $20 and over, we will interrupt the discussion and we will read them right then and there. We will stop what we're doing and we will address your concerns.
Marcos said, MGS adds content warning to its new game collection. LOL, what do you all think?
I mean, that doesn't shock me at all. It doesn't shock me at all when they do it to old movies. It doesn't shock me at all when they do it to video games. I see the way that, obviously we don't really cover video game stuff here, but I see the way that they sanitize a lot of characters when they remake the games and stuff like that. I feel bad for them as well, because it seems like 10, 15 years down the line, they'll end up in just the same place that Hollywood is in if they don't, keep themselves from also falling into that weirdly puritanical spiral that Hollywood and the rest of them is in. Isn't it weird how we live in an age now where Hollywood is simultaneously like more afraid, like we get like weird movies like Bros, and what are the other ones coming out?
Bottoms and Dicks the Musical.
Like we get like weirdly hyper or The Idol, and we get weirdly hypersexual stuff from Hollywood, but at the same time, it's never felt more scared of itself to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, also I saw this tweet that said like 30% of Zoomers think sex should never be mentioned in public, and another 30% on the opposite end of the spectrum are like talking about the most debaucherous, incomprehensible sexual kinks they have with their face showing on TikTok. It's the same thing. It's like this schizophrenic attitude about sexuality and where it belongs in media and the public consciousness.
Maybe part of that's just because like the most vocal of the groups are always going to be the ones to speak up online, right? So the ones who absolutely don't want any of it talked about are going to be the ones to vocally say that, and the people who are like, look, I want to talk about all the creepy stuff that I like to do in bed are also going to be very vocal about.
I guess we'll get into that with the next topic.
That is true. Let's in fact let's just do it right now. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So Mary, tell us what's happening with this couple.
A very bizarre TikTok went viral over the weekend, and it's from this married couple that essentially make content about recovering from a corn addiction in their marriage. And they decided to go see Oppenheimer, and this was the wife's advice for what to do to prepare for this sex scene and nudity that are in Oppenheimer. I honestly was traumatized and disturbed by it as well. I didn't want to see Florence Pugh's weird boobs, and that made me really uncomfortable. So I think this was actually helpful.
The 1 minute and 30-second clip here.
I believe so.
Okay, here we go.
There's boobs in Oppenheimer?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice.
Nice.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so I research everything before we watch it, but especially this movie. Obviously, I heard about it. Yes, we wanted to see it. It has an amazing rating. We prepared ourselves. I didn't know when the scene was going to happen, and I also didn't understand how the scene was happening. I thought it was just several minutes straight of, but it wasn't. It was actually broken up into like, it would do a flash of that, and then it would do a flash of normal life, and then it would do a flash of the scene, and then it was like very, back and forth. So it was really difficult to avoid it. But obviously my husband and I talk about everything. If we go anywhere or we go see anything, even if it's a concert, movie, an event, we have a game plan. We talk about things like, what if you get triggered? What if I get triggered? Really, the problem isn't what if you get triggered. The problem is what if I get triggered, because I don't want my night to be ruined by being triggered by something on a screen. So essentially, what we did was, when the scene came up, when things were happening, he literally closed his eyes and laid his head on my shoulder. Like, if this is my shoulder, like this is my shoulder, he like this. And then I would just like let him know whenever it was over. And it literally, I will tell you what right now, took nothing away from the story. Him not looking at the screen during did not change the storyline, did not change anything. Have a plan and talk about it before you go.
So A lot of the responses to this TikTok, as bizarre as it is, I agree, for this woman to share this type of private, personal information
That's
about
the
her
only thing
relationship.
I find weird about it.
As weird as that is, I don't think that the proper response is to just lack compassion entirely and say stuff like, wow, it's literally just boobs. Like, why do you care so much? Or, you know, porn addiction doesn't exist, when that's just, you know, if something can deliver you dopamine, there can be an addiction to it. That's just a fact. That response to me just completely lacks any human decency or understanding. I don't think that she should have shared this on a public platform. And I also wonder, like, is it her that wants to share this, or is it the husband that wants to share this?
It's her that wants to share this, or he'd talk about it.
I mean,
if
is
he
it
wanted
like
to.
she's sharing this against his will, or is it like he has to walk on eggshells and let her make this type of content? It all just seems very invasive and unnecessary and embarrassing for no reason.
He's been emasculated heavily.
Yeah.
Like heavily.
Yeah.
Like if this is indeed, like, nobody's laughing at him for having an addiction to porn. They're like,
well, some sick people in the comments are.
But the point is like what she's doing is absolutely humiliating.
She's rubbing salt into the wound. That would have been just a private issue between them that is resolved and it's done. It's over with. Why does it have to be adjudicated on by literally millions of people? This has been seen 40 million times at this point, for no reason other than that people just have no sense of discretion or privacy anymore with social media.
Yeah, there's a lack of boundaries nowadays, and I think this is also, not to make this it's not a gendered issue, but it feels like women feel more of a need to share this type of thing because they're going to get comments from people who are saying, you're so brave for sharing this. You're so brave. You're helping other people by showing that they're not alone. Meanwhile, the husband's over here like, what if I want you to feel alone? What if I want to pretend like I'm the only one in the world who has this problem so that I'm not looked at a certain way?
Like a freak.
Yeah. Like it's
like you're getting paraded around like something is wrong with you.
I'm not sure how he feels about that, but it is also interesting because it speaks to the challenges that people face if they're going to go, you know, participate in polite society with something like this going on, because you'd never know that something like this was going to be a problem unless she shared this with you.
I mean, I feel like polite society doesn't exist anymore, and the ubiquity of porn and porn addiction is a lot of the reason for that.
Yeah.
Like, I totally sympathize with the attitude that like we don't need to be bombarded with nudity and sexuality in all of our entertainment, and it is almost impossible to escape. It feels like I can't look at any like new Netflix show without this being shoved in my face, and I'm tired of it. And it doesn't take a porn addiction or like being triggered to find an issue with that. And it's I don't know, like I would feel uncomfortable with that no matter the circumstances. And I like that she brought up this point that it didn't take anything away from the plot or their ability to watch and enjoy this movie by ignoring these snippets. That's what shows that those parts of the movie were unnecessary altogether to begin with. People can argue, oh, it showed you that actually this relationship that he had was part of the reason why this struggle session he was going through was so embarrassing. Yeah. And that's why they you know, spliced it together where like Florence Pugh is in the conference room that they're in, but then they're in the bedroom again, and it like takes you back and forth. But I mean, fair argument, I guess. It's like less unnecessary than maybe the level of sexuality that's in The Idol, for instance, or like Euphoria or one of these shows. But it's not necessary for the story. I don't think it adds anything. It's just, I think it's vulgar and meant to vulgarize the people watching.
I mean, the nudity in the movie doesn't bother me. I find I'm just more fascinated by what people are willing to share. Like, I mean, this is her sharing it though. It's not like he's in the video with her. Like, yeah, that's what's weird to me.
Well, there's another video she posted that she did show her husband in it and their baby in the background. You want to show that one?
Yep. It's we live in a, you know,
more intense oversharing. We're gonna have the sound off, so Bertman, you might want to look at the monitor for this one. She said, "Since quitting corn, my husband buys flowers and calls me beautiful. Clearly communicates what he's feeling.
Affirms my feelings. Affirms me and validates my feelings. No longer blows up at me or calls me names.
Like,
shows compassion for me and holds space for my emotions.
Why is the baby in the background scrolling on the iPhone?
Initiates intimacy and feels more present. These are all on the face good things. It's just so weird to be public
I don't
want
to see you getting cradled by your husband on TikTok on my For You page. Like, I don't want to see that.
Nope. Okay.
It's just too much.
I feel like she's making the video for other women when it's really other men that need to see this. You know what I mean?
You think other men are going to see this?
Men that are addicted.
Yeah, like she's making it for the women that will say, "Good job, thank you for making it. This was so courageous of you to be open about it." When the men are the ones who need to be hearing it, but aren't going to be the ones watching the content, so it ends up falling on deaf ears anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just feels like you're always going to hold something over him, which isn't fair. One of the comments said, "Baby is shopping on Amazon while mommy trauma dumps."
Yeah, I'm sure the baby.
The baby in the background on the phone is just too much for me.
Yeah.
And then one tweet here says, "I know this woman. Her husband secretly had a corn addiction for years, which affected their marriage and her mental health, especially after they had kids. He avoids nudity because it can trigger him into falling addicted again, and they're working on fixing their relationship. She's very sweet, loves her kids very much. Her TikTok is her way of spreading awareness on corn and the effects it has on men, how she wants to protect women from these men. Really sad to see people on X make fun of her like this when they don't know the full context." Well, now that I have the full context, I still think it's super weird to share that. Share that with the entire internet.
She wants to protect other women from men who have this problem. Would this be different
if it comes to vetting possible husbands? That's a valid concern to have. But what is the point of this content?
Yeah.
Because I don't think this is changing anyone's heart or mind. It just makes you kind of look like a lunatic.
There's a $20 one there from Dragon's Talon 1001.
It says he was addicted to corn. What about her addiction to validation clicks? Is she working on that?
The thing is it's more socially acceptable to be addicted to validation and clicks these days. So she's not going to, and it's harder to recognize, right? Because the social implications might be like the social implications now. I was watching a thing earlier about the. Or no, like we had the topic on Friday about the OnlyFans, or the OnlyFans model who's doing nudes for Maui. There's a certain amount of addiction to clicks, likes,
attention.
And to attention that you can clearly see as a well-adjusted person, though I don't know if I would consider myself well-adjusted. Like a well-adjusted person sees that and says, like, that seems out of pocket. I don't know if that's the healthiest way to live, right?
And as I said, can people just donate to charity without jerking off?
Exactly.
That would be nice.
So for this, it does feel weird that they're choosing to share this. But again, if he's okay with this, I guess that's fine. But I
don't
can't
think that's
imagine.
Fine. I think he shouldn't be okay with this.
Yeah.
Some things are just meant to be private.
And
end of story.
And like the other thing is like eventually like they'll have to, the thing about these types of videos is like they have to keep the content coming, especially if it becomes your brand. Like what if it's like it's going to remain an issue now? So it's like he's doing much better. He doesn't have to worry about it as much, but it kind of keeps getting brought back to the forefront of their relationship because she has to keep making content.
Like when can either of them live this down? And it's not easy in such a pornified, hypersexualized culture to get past an addiction like that, I'm sure.
Yeah. Somebody says, was he snorting corn? Yes, he was just snorting the corn.
Yeah.
It's just feels like okay, let me hold on. As I'm somebody who's in recovery, it would be like if I was dating someone and she was making videos about my addiction.
Well, it would be more like if you were currently in the addiction while you were still in the relationship and then you recovered and you were still in that relationship and she started making content about it.
Yeah, so I'm, and what's funny too, because it's one of those things that I've actually talked about this, is like one of the biggest disservices I did, especially like the last relationship I was in when I was still dealing with it is I was never honest about it, right? I was very, very quiet about my problems. But that's because like you worry about how you're going to be perceived by others. That seems like a valid concern if you then share with your significant other, like, look, I've got a severe opiate addiction. And she's like, oh my gosh, I want to help you. And then like 3 months later, she's like, and then he went to rehab and we've been dealing with it. And he talks to me. He validates my concerns about his addiction. And that's like, and then you're just sitting here mortified. I can't leave her because she's stuck with me while going through this. Yeah. I guess I got to let her make these weird videos about how I'm fucked up. Like, I guess.
You're kind of hostage.
I would want to hear from the husband or the guy being like, how do you feel better? What do you feel, having gone through that?
Yes.
It'd mean a lot more if this guy were making content of his own volition to talk about this issue to other men.
Yeah.
But sadly, I'm sure there are a lot of, really unhappy women out there in broken marriages that want to see content like this because it makes them feel affirmed.
Well, she says that's literally what she says in this thing. She says he affirms me and validates my feelings. Again, those don't mean anything. Those aren't real words when strung together. What does that mean? Does he wake up and say, you are a human being?
Yeah.
Your emotions are real emotions? Duh. Like, it's all just syrupy garbage. Now I'm getting angry. Now I'm annoyed. Never mind. I'm now like, I guess if he was okay with it, now I feel like this dude's kind of would be like held hostage. Like she's stuck with me because, like I said, he seems to have come through this, right?
Hopefully it's not as bad as it seems to be. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Super Chats.
It's over 9,000 said, as pathetic as it is to see someone wearing a mask alone in their car, it's equally pathetic to see someone smoking a cigarette with a mask tucked under their chin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also like the ones
we love public health.
I also love the ones that were like people will wear a mask everywhere in public and then their air vents look like this and it's just disgusting. Yeah.
EHAF said, what's Harry gonna do? Tell them how many minority kids they have to touch to meet diversity requirements?
Yes, he's gonna tell them how many times you have to be on Epstein's flight log to get your diversity points.
Oh, at the Better Up?
Yes, at the Better Up.
Clint... oh wait, I already read that one. Victor Von Derp said, guessing Mary is just jelly that this guy came out of nowhere and amassed more clout than a trad thought ever will. It shows in her choice of words. Petty.
We dunk on the trad movement too here because that's also just reacting to a market share. That's just filling a role the same way that the red pill movement and trads are filling a role the same way that feminists fill a role going the other way. It's playing to an ideal, not a reality.
Ooh, like how the red pill guys are just get your bag king feminism, but for men.
I had another post like that kind of started popping off too. People had opinions.
What was it?
Basically saying the same thing, like you can't have 10 years of third and fourth wave feminism, toxic feminism that just shits on men, and then wonder why all these Andrew Tates are popping up.
The equal and opposite reaction.
It's just...
Let's do one more, and then we'll move on.
Fear Me It's Bree said, identifying that closely with someone you don't know personally is dangerous because if they say the wrong thing, you now have to defend yourself against the stigma associated with supporting them.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, plus, like, I don't even, like, think about it this way. Do you, like, and all your friends, like, have views that, like, where you align that perfectly on stuff? Do you, like, identify with your friends and say, I like him because, like, I actually worry about that. Now, I'm serious.
Leftist friend groups are like that.
I worry.
They are.
Like, when I meet people and it's like you get that kind of like, oh, they see the world a little bit like I do, and you kind of get like a little rush of like oh, cool, right? I worry about that.
They affirmed your feelings.
They affirm your feelings. You cannot rely on stuff like that.
I think leftist friend groups operate on the premise that we all agree on everything. We are all perfect, both privately and publicly. We never make mistakes. And I'm just going to delusionally believe that all of my friends never do questionable shit. And that's just not the reality. Like, they're living in a fantasy land. Yep. And I personally would have no problem with being friends with people who disagree with me politically. I literally don't care about that at all. Even on the most important issues to me, like abortion, for instance, I would be friends with any pro-choice person, but they don't want to be friends with me because my beliefs are important to them.
Me and Mary disagree on a lot of stuff, like
probably most.
Probably most things, and it doesn't affect our ability to do our job or get along.
Yeah.
So let's hold off on the rest, and we will come back after we talk about Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer Aniston is in the news, ladies and gentlemen, because she feels like she's gonna be canceled.
She's trying to be Roseanne Barr.
She wants to be a skinnier, prettier Roseanne Barr, but not as cool. That's right. She said that she feels like she's gonna get canceled because she's not a fan of cancel culture. Where's Piers Morgan when you need him?
Yeah, she's gonna go on Piers Morgan next.
Didn't she try to cancel everybody who didn't want to take the shot?
Yes. I mean, most of them did.
So this doesn't mean anything.
2 weeks ago, when Jennifer Aniston was trying to cancel Jamie Foxx for an anti-Semitic post.
That was like less than a week ago. That was like,
and it's like ancient history now. But people are remembering. People know. Okay, she was trying to cancel Jamie Foxx literally 2 weeks ago, and now she's dodging accountability for that. And people are also bringing up that she's like liking posts that hate on Meghan Markle. That's good in my book. Also, like accounts that hate on Amber Heard. And she was liking posts about Angelina Jolie's allegations of abuse against Brad Pitt.
You do understand that all of this really just, it reinstates the idea that one thing Hollywood has done in the last 5 years to 10 years is they've tried really hard to pretend that all women just like each other because they're women. They're like, look at these women. The whole Taylor Swift speech from 2019 is like, look at all these women supporting other women. Look, it's not the real world. Right? And that's not to say that women don't like each other. I'm just saying that we all know that there are very few things cattier than women who don't like other women. It's just the way of the world. And to pretend like that's just not a truth is irrational and very clearly motivated by political and social factors.
I think Jennifer Aniston is just a run-of-the-mill like person of her generation, right?
Gen Xer. I think.
She's a Gen Xer, right?
She's either Gen Xer or like a late boomer.
I would assume she's like in her 50s.
Okay, Gen Xer.
Most like Gen X or boomers are just kind of generally anti-cancel culture, generally, pro freedom of expression.
Not the women.
Kind of
not the
just
women.
Like liberal.
But she's too plugged into the Hollywood thing to like kind of understand what she's even saying.
Liberal women in Hollywood, regardless of generation, still end up nuts. Kind of, they do. The men are just as bad because they're probably not that way, but they have to pretend like they are because they don't want to get in trouble from the Hollywood machine. Yeah. But the women's instinct, especially the motherless woman's instinct to protect everyone by being extremely oppressive is runs deep in Hollywood, right? They want to save every. You know what video's been making the rounds again lately? Is that video from 2020 of the girl with the BLM face paint?
Yeah.
That
I've seen like 30 times.
That video's been making the rounds again, and that perfectly encapsulates. That girl was like 20 years old. Every single woman in Hollywood would make that video if they were asked to make it.
Yeah.
They would do it without hesitation.
Because they're that tone deaf.
Because they're that tone deaf. And they would believe 110% that they were changing something by doing that. One thing I've noticed, I tweeted yesterday. I didn't make a tweet. I tweeted yesterday that I added more things to IMDb trivia sections. No need to thank me. I'm just happy to help
the thankless
world.
Job.
It's hard work, but somebody's got to do it. But if you go on IMDb, they allow for celebrities to self-verify their gender identity. I'm going to let you guess which gender is more likely to self-verify their gender identity. It's women.
It's the women.
The guys don't care. They will virtue signal if their manager puts a gun to their head and says virtue signal. But in general, sure, there's nutsos. There's Mark Ruffalo's all over Hollywood. Sure, we know that. But the women are more likely to actually believe it.
Okay, I just want to read her actual quote here. She said, "I am so over cancel culture. I probably just got canceled by saying that."
Can we?
I just don't understand what it means. Is there no redemption? I don't know. I don't put everybody in the Harvey Weinstein basket.
Unless you're Jamie Foxx.
Yeah. It's anti-cancel culture for me, but not for thee. Yeah. And then she goes into her thoughts on the Me Too movement, basically, and her experiences interacting with Harvey Weinstein in the past. She said, he's not a guy you're like, I can't wait to hang out with Harvey. Never. You were actually like, oh, okay, suck it up. I remember actually he came to visit me on a movie to pitch me a movie. And I do remember consciously having a person stay in my trailer. But she clarified that she never had any uncomfortable instances with Harvey Weinstein.
If anything,
it's like he was always nice to me.
Like Justin Bieber was saying. Like if anything, this is worse. If anything, this is like downplaying and like just like
it's like, oh, he was kind of a jerk.
I'm saying it's downplaying the behavior of all the people that let it happen in the 2000s and the 90s.
Right, and downplaying her own, like being complicit in his serial abuse.
Yeah.
Which everybody knew about. And she, like, that's something that you should legitimately get canceled for, is being complicit in abuse. I mean, Paris Hilton did the same thing. She said, oh, I was at Cannes when I was 19 or whatever, and Harvey Weinstein wanted to bring me up to the hotel room to pitch me a movie or like get me to read scripts. And she's telling this story now, like that she's in her 30s or 40s or whatever, acting like it doesn't make her look just as bad as everyone else in that slimy industry who was ignoring it the entire time, knowing full well what he was up to in those hotel rooms.
But Jamie Foxx is canceled because he made a tweet she didn't like.
Yeah. But Jamie Foxx is canceled because he made some stupid analogy about his friend being a Judas.
Chris Bertman in the chat says, if we get 5 crisis parties, I'll cut my hair.
Yeah, I'll cut it.
Like all of it off? Like bald?
I'll cut it.
You're not going to go bald.
What were my words?
I mean, how much are you going to cut it?
I said I'll cut it. I never said how much.
These are weasel words, ladies and gentlemen.
I never said they weren't.
Weasel words.
I never said they weren't, but
you
hey.
You gotta make them want it.
Well, do they not want me to cut my hair?
They want to know how much.
Yeah.
Enough.
It needs to be extreme.
Yeah.
Enough. Noticeable.
She's very clearly doing this in a way
this tweet said, isn't this the same Jennifer Aniston who cut ties with friends and family members because they didn't want to get the vaccine? And the same Jennifer Aniston who tried to cancel Jamie Foxx a few weeks ago. Yep. Her cancellation is selective. In fact, she only cancels women and black people because she loves having abusive white men as pets. Meanwhile, she laughs at abused women like Amber Heard and Angelina Jolie, I presume, but pretends to be a feminist.
Yeah, Amber Heard is not a victim.
Yeah,
sorry.
No.
I mean, Angelina.
They're mad at her because she follows Johnny Depp on Instagram.
Oh,
I guess
that's too bad.
There are better things that we could worry about.
And I mean, it's not just this in the news, ladies and gentlemen. Did you see that Gina Carano responded to Rachel Zegler being ostensibly canceled in Hollywood lately because Rachel Zegler back in 2020 was all too happy to laugh at Gina Carano for getting in trouble with Disney.
She subtweeted Gina Carano very hard at the time. And I just hate this like new language of Reddit speak. She said, do not make fun of pronouns. They are not a joke. Pronouns are validating. Pronouns are cool. Put your pronouns in your bio. I wear my pronouns on a button sometimes. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
It's a fun time to remind you all to love Pedro Pascal.
You know what it reminds me of? It's when people say, I don't need to hear this. I don't know who needs to hear this, but I'm like, just say what you're going to say. Shut up. That's not a thing.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but your mom.
Yeah, exactly. So and then Gina Carano just responded with the GIF. Boop. Yeah, so good for her for getting the last laugh in here. And nobody likes Rachel Zegler these days because Rachel Zegler's insufferable.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it because, like, she has some level of talent. She's gotten this platform. She's attractive, young, has her whole life ahead of her. And she's just choosing to throw it all away on acting like an evil queen.
She looks like Skeletor.
What do you mean?
Look at it. Pull a picture of Skeletor.
You mean
pull up
like
a picture of her? She looks like
her
Skeletor.
teeth?
No, just her the shape of her.
The shape of her face, like her skull looks like.
He's not wrong.
Thank you. King.
Okay, she's
still pretty, but he's not wrong.
Like,
yeah, a pretty Skeletor.
She's a very attractive Skeletor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, if you're pretty, there's no reason to act like this.
Yeah. It's, I mean, there is. It's called insufferable entitlement from the newest generation of people who are growing up, who are becoming famous in the age of Reddit in Hollywood.
Was socialized by Tumblr.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Oh, that was the funniest thing about the thing we covered yesterday was they said that Taylor Swift responded to finding out that she didn't get to buy her music on Tumblr.
Taylor
I was
Swift
like, what the hell?
Yeah, Taylor Swift is notoriously super active on Tumblr. Has always been for many years.
Tumblr's still a thing?
That's still a thing.
Wow.
Apparently.
Jeez.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I just hate this like neo Reddit Tumblr right language where you end every sentence with an exclamation point
I literally just did that.
and you talk like you're expecting a laugh track to come after every line.
Yeah.
Like that's how she was talking in that one interview.
I mean, they all
1923.
talk like they're on Twitter
She's like,
too.
he was a stalker. Like she's doing her own laugh track as she talks.
Yeah.
They're
It's
saying,
just such an inhuman reaction.
and it's not going to make you likable. But I guess like for a certain amount of people, you don't have to worry about being likable because you're insulated by the fame you've reached or the level of success you've reached, and you're not going to have a problem with that. So they don't have to care the way certain
guess
people do.
Jennifer Aniston doesn't have to care about being likable anymore because she's got it made at this point.
Go on. I thought you were
No,
going to
that
say
was it.
something. Yeah, I would love to see a little bit of. I guess it's hard to expect. Like our attention spans are so short now. Like I forgot about the Jamie Foxx thing. I legitimately that was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I already forgot.
Yeah.
So they're just like they take advantage of the fact that they expect people to not remember.
Yeah.
Right. You got to have a long memory. But this, like, I'm actually of the opinion, like, a lot of times, like, I understand why people prefer to have the long memory, but I feel like I'm happier not having the long memory. Like, that way I'm not outraged every time they say something or do something.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't remember that Jennifer Aniston said that, and I was happier because of it. Right?
You're like blissfully unaware, like a goldfish
That's me, Mary. I'm
swimming through the world.
Exactly. That's me. That's perfect. How did you know? Yeah, so I think we need to see the women in Hollywood be a little bit more on the ball.
Like have some humility.
Yeah.
You know, like she's denouncing cancel culture because she doesn't want it to happen to her. She doesn't particularly care
She's still mad about
whether
that.
it happens to somebody else.
She's still mad about that. People being mad about that all-white Friends dinner.
Yeah. The Friends reunion dinner that wasn't a Friends reunion dinner.
She was
Where-
very. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. She was very upset about that. And then also like, they get like every few years, like it comes up where they're like Friends was too white, and then they get dragged for it. And I remember like during 2020 they were doing a thing where like I don't remember which one it was. I think it was David Schwimmer was like, yeah, they should remake Friends, but like inclusive. And everyone's like, yeah, they should.
Which means no more white people.
and let's face it, it wouldn't be funny anyways because Friends wasn't funny.
No, it wasn't. Maybe we just had less options at the
Wow.
time.
Friends wasn't funny.
There were less options available at the time, and so people just all watched the same thing.
Wait, you're a Friends guy? You like Friends?
I'm not like a mega fan, but like it's funny enough. I don't understand why people say it's not funny. I'm like, I never said it was like the most funny thing, but like it's for sure entertaining.
Chat, what say you? Is Friends funny? I would be interested to know what their thoughts are on that. Like whether they think Friends was actually funny. But I guess it's
the
like,
consensus has officially shifted.
I like every girl I've ever known loved Friends.
That's how
Or
I
The
started
Office.
watching it.
like
But I think The Office is legit funny.
I've never seen The Office.
every girl I know has loved Friends, I guess. So, it's for them. It's not for me.
Is it a show for girls?
I don't know. Guy, is it
Yeah. Okay, I got introduced to it from an ex-girlfriend like 14 years ago, and then one of our couple friends back home, shout out to Kira, she is obsessed with it. So there might be something to it.
Okay. All right. I mean, but also like it's not my genre. Like I like Seinfeld on occasion, but even then I'm not like I don't really care for The Office.
I think Seinfeld was funnier than Friends.
Yes, and would be harder to make today.
I've never seen Seinfeld.
Yeah. So.
You should.
All right, let's go ahead and do some super chats.
JR said in a February 2022 post, Oliver Anthony said Joe Biden was a hard worker, and I think he criticized Republicans and said they were abusing government welfare in that same post. Interesting take.
But is it even true? Like, I don't know. People are just saying things.
Yeah, it's. I'd have to look at it.
In
and
a
see.
post
Source,
on
bro?
what his private Facebook that you weirdos excavated the second that you found out who he was.
Yeah.
He's like secretly related to Joe Biden.
Even if it is true, like the lyrics of the song and what he's speaking to are like, they're still true, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't make what he said any less relevant.
Exactly.
By that you mean get the fat people off the off the government dole. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Cut the taxes and get the fat people off the fudge rounds.
Buy your candy on your own, man.
Seriously.
Jeez.
Quite Blackpilled said, Yo, Brett, I know you only like video games with only 8 pixels, but you love Shredder's Revenge. Think Turtles in time for Super Nintendo, but playable.
I'm not an 8-bit guy. I had a 64 and a Sega. I was not just Nintendo. In fact, I played mostly N64 and some into the PS2. Hitman 1 and 2.
We got
Ooh,
two
that's a good
$20, one from DCNC, Friends Not Funny.
Yeah, I
Jon
agree.
Stewart said, I watched Friends when it aired. It was the best thing on at the time. I didn't have cable, so...
Yeah, I didn't have cable. I was talking to someone about this recently. Like, there's a whole aspect of culture that I missed just because I didn't have cable growing up.
Yeah.
My grandparents had cable, so I got to watch cable every once in a while when we would go to see my grandpa and grandma.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have any such thing.
Disco Jensen said, dating and lifestyle is jacked up because people share and compare, remove social media and repeal the 19th, and so many problems would correct
Based.
themselves.
I can't speak to the repeal to the 19th part, but I do agree with the oversharing, and everybody's like, it's kind of like what they talk about, right? Like everybody's looking for the next best. Nobody wants to settle because we've been telling people for the last 20 years, you don't need to settle. So everyone, not only are they being told don't settle for less than exactly what you want, you're constantly being shown new things that you want, which makes it very hard to want to settle down and actually build a life with someone if everything you're seeing is telling you like there's something there's something better out there for you. There's something more.
That's why everyone wants to equal the playing field, so to speak. Like no differences between anyone, no privilege, no differences in opportunity. And it's just not possible, and you're going to be unhappy if you think that way.
Let's do the one more from Disco Jensen, the one without a message. And then
thanks.
I just did it myself. Thank you, Disco Jensen. Let's go ahead and move on. So Elon Musk tweeted recently, X'd recently, that he was going to get rid of the block button on Twitter, and it caused an uproar.
There was
a bigger uproar than I thought.
Wailing and gnashing of teeth
There was.
on the platform. Everywhere.
Yeah.
It was the entire timeline.
People were very mad.
People crying, do not take my block button away from me. So he said in a tweet, block is going to be deleted as a quote-unquote feature, except for DMs.
But he's saying now that you can't do this because the app stores require you to have them.
The community note says, if the ability to block users is removed, X would be in violation of the policies of the App Store as well as the Google Play Store. Potentially, this could lead to X being removed from those platforms. There are no such policies for the web app.
Okay.
So,
but most people use this
know
app on their phone.
I didn't know that, but unlikely that this is going to happen, right?
Yes, I love the idea.
You can't suffer the loss of being taken off the App Store.
I saw a conspiracy theory earlier that said Elon Musk's ongoing ketamine use was the reason for his recent erratic behavior. I do love the idea that that's the reason why this is happening, but I don't think that's what it is.
You know, he also suspended an AI bot of Grimes recently.
Favoritism much?
Yeah.
Favoritism much?
And now he's blocking anybody that speaks out against him and his decision. He said, it's pretty fun blocking people who complain that blocking is going away. How does that medicine taste?
Yeah.
And I'm having a good time blocking people who complain that blocking is going away. Laughing emoji. Do you believe him? He's having a great time.
I do. He's a troll.
Laughing it up.
Yeah, he's a troll.
He's jolly.
Yeah. Do you think we end up? Do you use the block button?
No, I use the mute button for sure. I think maybe in my whole 14, 15 years on Twitter, I've blocked
a long time.
5 people. Yeah. And I mean, we're talking about
what happened?
It's just like the harassing stuff, but I don't think they had the mute feature yet at that point, or maybe I didn't think to use it. I personally don't like to do it because I don't like giving people the satisfaction of knowing they got under my skin. I'd rather mute and have them keep saying whatever shit you're saying, like just, scream into the void. You're never going to know that I don't see it. But do I really think that this is going to happen? Yeah, probably, because he says quote unquote feature. He's not saying block button. And there was a couple other tweets where he's talking about where he's basically restructuring mute and block to essentially do the same thing, which, yeah, you're still going to be able to block DMs, which I think that might serve the Google Play Store purpose of being a block function. But Malcolm Flex, you guys know who he is, right?
Yep.
Okay, so he had a tremendous, I don't remember if it was a thread or a video, where he was talking about all the people that are complaining about not getting their content monetized because of Twitter, so that they're shadow banned. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I don't know. But the argument that he had was like, all of this decentralized people that are blocking, all these lists that go around where people auto block a bunch of people, that is affecting your ability to be seen by people.
Okay.
So
Now that ad revenue is
Exactly.
involved, yeah, I think it would be a better idea to get rid of the block lists, not blocking altogether.
How can you, though? That's an outside thing. Can you really
Yeah.
stop that? But I do think, because he even had a point where he posted a picture of some guy. He's like, I've never talked to this guy before. Why am I blocked? And I've had the same thing happen where you say something and just
Yeah.
because they disagree with you, you didn't even say
You can
anything
block
mean.
anyone who follows a certain person.
Exactly. So like just because they disagree with you, they talk back, and then before you can even read their thing, you've been blocked. And on top of that, what's stopping me from turning on my alternate account, taking a screenshot of what they've said, or just looking at their account? Like it's a facade
Well, you
of
can
safety.
look up anyone's account on your browser without logging in and
Yeah.
see their posts.
It doesn't really do anything. So everybody that's complaining, like, it's always been easy to get around the block button in the first place. If you
Well,
really
on Instagram, it's not, because you can block someone and any accounts that they have or may create in the future.
more so, but yes, I think that's connected to their phone number and or email. So if they got a different email, you probably can get around that. If you really want to have some kind of safety online, make your account private. That's the only thing you can really do.
It's one of the things that was a big arguing point in the comic book industry. One, because they all use huge blockchains. Like, so
Yeah.
they're actually blocking out large lists of people who might actually buy their product if they could actually. This is back when there was more goodwill going on, right?
Okay,
So these people like have these large block lists. So they're tweeting a bunch and they're blocking people. You know, they block one person and anybody that follows that person ends up getting blocked. So now all these potential customers are no longer getting notifications. Because they don't want to, they're not even giving you the option of seeing their work. They're just cutting you off before you even have the choice to do that, right?
Exactly.
Not the smartest thing if you're business-wise. And the thing is, the argument that people would make to the contrary was like, look, like have a private, if you want to talk politics and you want to be divisive, have a private account where you talk about that stuff with your friends and family, but don't have it connected to your work. So a lot of them, because they're independent contractors, wouldn't, like, they don't have to do that. So they would put, but in their bio, they would put like, writer for Marvel, writer for DC. Problem is most of the stuff they're tweeting is about politics, and they're using, extensive blockchains that prevent people from actually seeing what they're tweeting. So what good is it doing their work? It's not really helping at all, but they get all the clout from writing for that company.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's frustrated me with people talking about being upset with the block button, they say, "Oh, well, I lock my house when I leave for work. I lock my house at night," but it's not the same thing, because your public account, anybody can look at it. It's not the same as locking your door at night. Do you let people just see what's in your house? No, you don't. It's apples and oranges, completely different thing.
P-Tran says, Brent sounds like Comicsgate here. I am not Comicsgate, but I do know some of the people in Comicsgate. And if I could get Zach from Comics Matter on here, I know he's not Comicsgate. He was, he was one of the founding people at that time period of like comics YouTube, along with like Captain Cummings and all these other people. Like, I would love to have Zach on here. I don't think he'd want to come on, but that's like, he's like the only YouTuber that I still watch all his, like, there are no YouTubers where I like watch all their content. I still watch all his videos, even though like most of it, I'm not even like up to date on what he's talking about. Like, I think you should be able to block. I don't block people. I don't even really, but I don't post.
Have you ever?
No, I mute stories on Instagram for people that are particularly annoying.
Yeah.
But I don't block or mute like their posts, because most of the like I find like most of the people that I follow tend to be people that skate, right? So they post their skating content on their main page, but stories are where they post the unhinged political stuff, and that goes for both parties, right? Like I just don't care for it there. So I'll mute stories for a lot of people, like on Instagram. On Twitter, I haven't really had to do that with anyone.
Okay, the Twitter stuff. Perfect example with the Hassan thing. He retweeted it. He's got 1 point whatever million followers. All of a sudden, everybody's seeing my content. They're, oh, you work for Tim Pool. They start sharing pictures of Tim bald. Like, why does that affect me, bro? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so I mute the post. I don't really see anything that goes on with the post. That's great because I don't want to see what the hell they're talking about. On top of that, you've got the crazy ones that will start going through and spamming all of your posts and just commenting everything, and then I just mute their account, and then they can talk. I don't care. Say whatever you want to say. I just don't want to see it because you're annoying.
A great feature is just not receiving notifications from people you don't follow.
That too. Yeah.
You'll miss a lot, but not much of value.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't follow that many people, so I wouldn't get that many. I wouldn't get that many notifications.
Mm-hmm.
I also wanted to mention that he told James Woods to delete his account.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, James Woods said, if Elon Musk removes the ability to block concerted harassment by trolls or organized political entities, how will X be any different from Jack Dorsey's horrid Twitter? Musk, who I once championed, is only doing this to protect his advertisers anyway. Users of X are mere pawns to turn the site into an electronic shopping mall. The man I thought was a defender of free speech is just another greedy capitalist. Disappointing, but not surprising. And then Elon replied, then delete your account.
Based. This is another perfect example. Don't get behind any single guy.
Yes.
I still think that X, Twitter, whatever, is way better than it was a year ago today. Yeah. I'm still cautiously optimistic about what Elon's doing. I think it's going to be a net positive. Therefore, I'm just going to sit back and see what happens.
It's just silly to get behind. Like it's like when I jokingly talk about Tiffany Gomez and people are like, "Oh, you really love her?" I'm like, "Bro,
yes, she's hot,
bro. It's a joke. Yeah, like whatever. It's a joke. It's half joke, half you just think that she's really attractive." Yeah. And you need to understand where the humor is and where the line is, because that's not the way the world works. And if you do get that attached to people, you're in for a rude awakening, because it's not going to work out for you in the end, because people always end up disappointing you. Right?
Everyone leaves.
I will disappoint you. Trust me. If you were to find yourself to be a fan of me, I will likely disappoint you in some way, shape, or form.
Don't make Brett your guy.
Don't make me your guy. It's like those. There's like a WWE, like I'm a Paul Heyman guy. All the people that Paul Heyman used to be the manager of. Yeah. Don't have like a shirt that says I'm a Brett Dasovic guy. It'll lead to nothing but disappointment. You won't be happy. It won't be funny. It won't be fun. I think that's like, I never want to block people though, because part of me is always like, I don't want to, like you said, I don't want to give them the satisfaction of knowing it, but also like, I do prefer the idea that people be able to speak freely, but I get why it exists, because certain people are unreasonable and ridiculous. So just mute them. Just mute them.
I'm fine with the restructuring. I just think that the incentive for people to get blocked, like they're headhunting, you know. I mean, people put in their bios, like, oh, I'm blocked by Elon Musk. I'm blocked by...
That's freaking weird.
It is weird.
But that's like people who are like, if your whole life is like based around the validation, whether it be good validation or bad validation of another person. Yeah. That's weird.
What if they changed the block feature so that when you block someone, they can't see your content, but you also can't see theirs?
That's how it works.
Would that make it only fair? No, you can look at someone's content after blocking them.
Blocked?
Yeah, after blocking them, you can.
Should I just try blocking someone real quick? Right?
Do it.
You can. Block me.
Let me see. All right, where are you?
Is there anybody that you found so insufferable you've wanted to block but have prevented yourself from doing so?
Probably. I mean, I don't get notifications from people I don't follow, so I don't see a lot of things. But I've experienced a lot of ugly behavior on the internet. People, I mean, like sending like dick pics.
I just block someone. I can't see their stuff.
That's weird.
I mean,
it used
I go
to be a different way, I think.
Yeah.
But people like, I mean, I literally had someone send me my own address before, and I was like, okay,
it's
come
creepy.
over.
It's creepy. Oh, did you see what Tim did last night?
What?
Oh, the skate thing that he was planning?
Yeah.
Somebody basically, they made kind of like a threat, right? And then Tim just responded, I'm not going to say it because it's pretty, but I was just like, damn, I love this job.
He was like, try it.
Pretty much, yeah. But, you know, it was a clapback, so it was funny.
F around and find out.
More or less.
It's just you're gonna have to have that feature if you're on the internet where people are just not beholden to actual rules or order.
It's a fine line because yes, I do believe in free speech. Also, at the same time, it's just like real life. You can't just expect that there's never going to be a threat out there. So if you really don't want to have something potentially harm you, don't be online. I don't know what to tell you.
But also, it's not the same. Like, people are making it less about freedom of speech and more about freedom of association. Like, who you have the
That's
you have
always
the
been
right
a thing, though.
You have a right to not have to talk to or
Yeah.
deal with this person.
That's
right?
why I love mute.
Most of the people complaining about this feature getting removed were people who have platforms.
Yeah, which is still weird. Like, bro, you're
Instead of-
super popular. Anybody could see you.
Like Elon was saying, he was shocked at the amount of users on Twitter that never like or retweet or do anything public on the platform. They just bookmark things or share things and lurk.
Yeah.
And he's trying to increase the amount of people that actually engage with the platform.
Sure.
And maybe this is a way to try to do that.
I'm trying to get us a third crisis party by rallying troops in the chat. That's what I'm
Yes,
doing.
rally
And
the
they're
troops.
they're blocking me as I try to get a third crisis party. I'm just showing up. It's you know what it is? It's the meme like where the guy's peeing in the list of urinals. There's like 7 urinals. And
Oh
the
my
guy
God.
just walks up to the one right next to you. There's some great ones that was like during COVID. It's like a guy's in front of the urinal and the guy walks up next to him and says, "Why aren't you wearing a mask?"
God.
Like I'm just trying to get people to get us a third crisis party. So
I said 5, man. It looks like I'm gonna grow my hair out.
I'm just trying to get a third one, and nobody wants to help. I don't know what that's about. They must want to block me. That's
Very
what it is.
sad.
They want to block me on social media, and because I'm so, it's very hard to watch my tweets about movies that I like and talking about how great Denzel Washington is. All right, so let's go ahead and let's go to crisis. Let's go to Superchats.
Crisis.
Hey. No making fun of me.
T-Bone said, "Excuse me, sir. You look amazing with your indoor sunglasses on like always. I loved your article today, sir. Keep up the amazing work, sir."
Ooh, what was the article?
Thank you, T-Bone. I forgot already. I have my short attention span. I had something about the Maui fire, FEMA telling people not to take pictures and post them on social media, which is kind of like, wait, is this a lot worse than you guys have been saying? Is that why you're telling people not to post anything? That's something else that had to do with Trump. I forget now. Super Mario, the guy from Super Mario, the voice, he's retiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what is it, in the 80s or something like that?
I think
Getting
he's
permanently
getting close to
replaced
80.
by Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt will take over, as with
His
everything.
soulless, not Italian voice.
Yeah.
We love Chris Pratt anyway.
There was no who's the guy that played Mario in the 93?
I don't know that actor's name.
Damn it, Bob Hoskins. There we go.
Okay, there
That's
it
why
is.
I didn't like the new Super Mario Brothers. Also, that is not a Goomba. Okay, the Goombas are the giant guys with the tiny heads. You haven't seen the movie. All right.
Yeah.
Jon Stewart said, Courtney Love famously said, "Stay away from Harvey." Did she?
Yes, she did. Yeah, she was very vocal about that.
Olivia Claire said, "Happy Tuesday. Nice to see Bert on here again. Reminder to like this video. Brett, don't forget the poll."
Yes, let's go ahead and just end the poll then. Thank you, Olivia Claire. Here we go.
You wouldn't have remembered.
I wouldn't have remembered. So thank you. I asked the question today, ladies and gentlemen. I said, should Twitter remove the block button? And 70% say no. They're saying
Interesting.
keep it.
At
So-
first, it was majority yes.
No. It was no.
It flipped.
Well, you know what that means. There was a trunk full of votes that got dumped in at 2 a.m. They just brought those ballots in overnight and dumped it there. All right.
C-Chap said, "Can I get Mary to do her best Valley Girl bye?" Bye. Is that what you want?
Okay, bye.
Grofty said, "Party time." Thank you for the party.
Thank you.
Disco Jensen said, "So are you going to shave it or trim? Contracts are specific for reasons."
Well, I don't know. We haven't even hit 5, so
Well, they would need.
Yeah, it's irrelevant at
They
this
would need
point.
the incentive beforehand. They're not going to give it to meager terms. So you got to tell them what it's going to be.
well, I don't know if I want to shave my head.
Oh, guys, he's playing weasel words over here.
He's not willing to do it.
I risk ruining my gorgeous hair by dyeing it twice, and people over here can't even commit to shaving hair that grows back. Are you kidding me?
Brett, this is your show.
Ladies and gentlemen, well, yeah, it just proves that you got to be fully committed.
Don't even offer a wager if you're not willing to do something
All right.
incredibly humiliating.
Oh, I think I was supposed to take my wife on a date wearing a chicken hat one time. I remember agreeing to it.
Okay, could we make that a wager?
That could be a wager.
5 crisis parties, and you will take your wife on a date wearing a chicken hat.
She'll be like,
Wait, not the mask that
You're
we had
not.
here?
You're
The
not
chicken
going to take
mask?
it off
No,
to
no,
eat
no,
the
no, no,
food.
like-
You're going to eat
yeah.
the food underneath the
oh my God.
the chicken helmet.
I told her about that. She's like, forget the chicken hat. You're going to take me on a date?
She's very excited. She's like, she heard none of the first part.
I know.
She's like, I thought he said a date for chicken soup. I didn't know he meant chicken hat.
I don't care what what you're wearing. Just take me on a date.
I just want to go out somewhere.
Tacty Platty said, paying for Bert to shout out my social media on Instagram and X, formerly Twitter. Bert's only weakness is audiobooks.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for supporting this show. Seriously, thank you. There is a $20 super chat there from Jose M.
He said, Zack Snyder trailer reaction.
We're going to talk about it tomorrow. That came. If it's out now, it wasn't out before the show went live. But I am fairly excited to see Rebel Moon. So it is possible that we will at least talk about it tomorrow on the show. If it's got copyrighted music, obviously we can't necessarily do that.
Well,
but
the whole thing is copyrighted.
Yeah.
basically.
Is it okay if I shout it out real quick?
Go ahead.
His socials. So he's a tremendous memer. He actually lives out in this area. He's a nice guy.
Yes.
Tremendous memer.
Tremendous memer, man. But one of the best in the game. So his Instagram is @tacty_platty. And
Put the sticker on your laptop.
I got the sticker on my laptop. Dude's a mensch. He's just a good guy. And then his X/Twitter is @Platt Yay, like the rapper. Tact Yay. Platt Yay, Tact Yay.
There you go.
How much are you getting paid for this?
He's my friend.
Oh, okay. Just wondering.
So you gave him a discounted rate then, is what you're
Give him
saying.
a discounted rate. Yeah, I said give the money to Brett, not me.
Perfect.
Fear Me It's Bree said, blocks can be bypassed. Trust me, I know. It's why you shouldn't post stuff that can be used against you to harass or threaten you or your kids.
That. Yes.
Not saying I harass. I'm just saying people have done this to me. LOL. Had to clarify that one. Realized it sounded weird.
Yeah, she's like, trust me, I know exactly how to do it. says Bree.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be careful. People and everyone knows that once you start getting harassed by someone online, once they hone in on you, they don't let up. And they never seem to have jobs or any type of reason to live other than to make other people miserable.
Maybe it's a bot.
Could be.
DCNC said, does Twitter X still work with SMS? Does Netflix still send DVDs in the mail? I've been on the net too long.
I will tell you because, all right, so the other day, actually Netflix is about to end their DVD by mail service. And one of the things they're offering
that
you,
already happened.
ladies and gentlemen, is 10 free rentals, but you still have to give them back. Like you don't get to keep them. I'm imagining they're selling off all those assets onward to other companies or to secondhand stores. I don't know. But yeah,
to Redbox.
That's well, the guy from Redbox wanted to buy Netflix's DVD by mail service, and they wouldn't sell it to him. They're like, we're folding it in, we're getting rid of it, and to which 90% of the country goes, Netflix still does DVD by mail service.
Yeah.
But what they realize is like there's places in the country that just don't get good internet access that had to use DVD by mail service just because.
Like us.
Yes, kind of, sort of, not. I still like. I have stopped using Netflix. Out of all the streaming services, I use Netflix now less than any of them because anytime you hit fast forward or rewind, the audio unsyncs from the video.
That's what that is.
Yes.
Damn it.
Yeah. So the audio unsyncs from the video, and then if you try to fast forward or rewind to catch it back up, it just sends you back to the main screen.
Oh my
or goes back to homepage. Netflix is I don't know if that's the internet. It can't be the internet here because all the other streaming services seem to work fine.
Well, why would it do it on my end too if it's this internet?
Yeah. So it's garbage.
Wow.
It's garbage.
Shane H. Wilder said, people who freak out over Elon's troll game are the same ones who fall for Dennis's fake Twitter, X profiles.
Who's Dennis? I'm confused. Dennis
So,
Prager? Just Dennis Prager?
There's some guy named
What?
Dennis, and I don't know if it was one person or if it was like a campaign of several people that were doing like Dennis, 2024 or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know what it was. It was a meme for a minute. I haven't seen it in a minute. Yeah.
Okay.
It's hard to explain because I can't find it anymore.
John Stewart said, we now need I'm a Brett guy shirts.
Brett guy.
Let's do that.
Or I'm a Brett girl shirts.
There you go. Yeah, it shouldn't be one or the other.
There you go. Yeah.
We'll get Tiffany Gomez to model.
I'm a Brett day. I'm a Brett them. We'll have multiples.
Grofty said, never disappointed tuning into PCC.
Well, thank you, my friend, and we are glad to entertain you.
DD Megadoodoo97 said, starting the cult of Brett, rivaling the Bert. Now let's get this show started.
Well, that sounds like a great idea, but I don't get the stomach for cult leadership.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It's too much work.
Some men just built different.
Being a cult leader just sounds like too much work, man.
It's just math class is hard. Cult leadership is hard. I can't do it.
Grofty said, I'll carry the party box, but it is heavy. Can I get a push, somebody?
I watched. There's a great meme the other day. It was a Pizza Hut sign. It's like the thing that says like big dinner box, but it says big D inner box, and it says letter placement is important. Like somebody pushed the letter out of the way.
Bruh.
You gotta find that.
Disco Jensen said, I'm one of the poor, but I support the media I consume.
Well, we thank you, but
Thank you.
just make sure that you do not over-identify with any one person or idea. They're just people, and people are fallible, and that matters.
I'll be your guy.
He's like, I'm infallible. I've never done anything wrong.
I'm perfect.
I will
make
never
mistakes?
disappoint you.
Oh, never. No.
I'm literally a demigod. Joshua French said, Mary, you are mostly based, but have a tendency to be a little too self-righteous, but you are still young and have room to grow. I'm not young. I hit
That means
the
you
wall.
got-
She hit the wall this year.
I fucking
Are you
hit the
kidding me?
wall.
She came into work the day after her birthday limping from hitting the wall.
It injured me. I'm not young anymore, and I'm not gonna grow.
She was like,
I'm not gonna do better. I'm not gonna learn.
She's like, I had all these calls from these red pill guys, and then all of a sudden just stopped on
Leonardo
exactly
DiCaprio was in my DMs, and then
God.
crickets.
just nothing.
Day after turning 23, it's over.
I hate it when that happens, man.
Quite Blackpilled said, heading over to your boy Zach's comment section. Don't know if he does his best work live. He's constantly praying to the one take gods, but it'd be good for his sales. I bought House on Fire because of y'all.
Dude, I'm not kidding you right now that he does this thing. He speaks to me in so many ways. One, he does the one take gods, but he also does one where he's like, pray to the god of remembering the obvious name that you should remember, but then you just blank on it because you're recording. Like I said, the other week, I was talking about an X-Files episode, and I couldn't remember the name CCH Pounder, which might be the most memorable name in the history of names. Like, if you can't remember that, what hope do you have to remember anything? Like, I could picture her face. I know exactly who she is. I've seen her in tons of stuff, but somehow that name wouldn't come to me. That's insane. Yeah. So you have to pray to the gods of names so that you will remember those names. And people here give me crap. A lot of times they're like, I just like list off names of actors and they think I'm just making it up. They're like,
you could be for all we know.
They're like, are you just making this up? Just knowing that
you
we
literally
can't
could
check?
be.
You'll have to. They're real. They're real names, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
They're real names. CCH Pounder is a real person.
Sammy Football said they haven't seen 93 Super Mario. I thought this is pop culture, and that was a crisis. You have to watch it, guys. It's so bad, it's good.
I have not seen it since the 90s.
It's solid, man.
I have not seen it since the 90s.
I got Ashley into it.
That was not mine growing up. I do love, for instance, like there's corny movies from that era that I love. I talk all the time. There's a movie called Rad, which is a BMX movie from the late 80s that I loved. Obviously, most of the movies, Airborne, which was a rollerblading movie from that time period. There's all sorts of great stuff from that time period, but Super Mario Brothers was not the one for me. I love the original Jumanji, though.
I've never seen it.
You should see the original Jumanji.
High Voltage 75 said, is there a way to check if you have people blocked on YouTube by accident? When I listen to PCC during work, my phone shuffles around in my pocket and tries to block random people in the chat.
That could honestly probably happen. Like, have you ever seen those like those videos where it's like going out to dinner, or is like making something healthy to eat, and then they slip and fall and get in their car and go all the way to. There's another one. It's like when you get in the shower and a guy he goes to check a thing on his phone in the shower, and like water gets on the screen, and it opens up his ex's phone number and sends her an "I miss you" text. Like that stuff happens. That's real. You're like, oh, I didn't mean to send that. I'm sorry.
Grofty said, "Let's jump right in."
For
Hour and 58 minutes into the show. It's time to jump right in.
It was less bad today. I think we were 38 minutes in, not 50 minutes in today
good time.
when we jumped in. But I like that stuff. I like the stuff at the beginning.
DCNC said Super Mario isn't Italian, he's Japanese. Japanese representation?
He's an Italian plumber from Brooklyn from Japan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mike Nick said, I appreciate you guys. As always, great show.
Thank you so much for that. What movies from that time period do you love? From the 90s, like the cheese.
Wasn't it the Mortal Kombat one?
95 Mortal Kombat is a masterpiece.
That one became a meme.
Like, guys, if you don't love the original Mortal Kombat, I do recommend going back and rewatching that one. It's really funny because who was it? Bridget Wilson from that movie. She went on to play she played the sister, the annoying sister in I Know What You Did Last Summer, and then she married Pete Sampras, like the tennis guy, and then kind of retired and stuff like that. But that movie was the guy who played Kano. He died.
Oh wow.
The guy who played Kano died in real life. But that movie is great. One of my favorite memes that goes around is from that movie. It's the one. It's where Shang Tsung has Liu Kang's brother by the hair at the beginning of the movie. It says, "Your mom when you missed a spot while cleaning," and it's pointing.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah, it's amazing. And if you never watched the really awful, amazing show Mortal Kombat Conquest, which is on Max.
And by amazing, you mean garbage.
It's so bad, it's good. Similar to like what you're talking about with Super Mario Brothers. They actually, the show is so cheap. The guy who plays Raiden is the same guy who plays Shao Kahn, just with a mask on. Not just that, but also they recycle a ton of the shots from the original Mortal Kombat movie as like the establishing shots in the show. So everyone should go watch that one tonight.
That's cool.
So
John Stewart said Dennis Hopper as Prez Koopa. Let's go.
Dennis Hopper, yeah.
You don't see much from him these days.
He's dead.
Is he?
Oh.
I'm thinking of Dennis Green.
Yes.
Different
Dennis
guy.
Hopper's
different
been
guy,
dead for a while.
Different guy. All right, Mary.
Sorry,
before we go, guys, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you've not done so already? Thank you very much for that. Let everyone know where they can find you, buddy.
You can find me on timcast.com. Click the read tab. We're always throwing up articles. And then you can find me on Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter, at Man of Bert.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
And of course, the socials are listed in the description box if you
nice.
need to find it. Yes. Cool. Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X, formerly known as Twitter, also Mary Archived.
Perfect. Guys, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter /X, whatever the hell you want to call it, at Brett Dasovic. On both of those platforms, this show is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific, so thank you very much for watching. If you would like to listen to the audio version of this podcast, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you'd like to follow the show on social media, we are on Twitter /X, at PopCulture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We've had a bunch of videos do very well over there lately, so go ahead, give us a follow, check it out. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Later. Enjoy all the money I just gave you guys. Don't spend it all in one place.